If you're aware of the troubled production of Alien 3, which led to significant story changes and cuts made to the film, then you also know one of the largest casualties of such changes and cuts related to the subplot involving the prisoner Golic. In the originally released version of Alien 3, Golic is presented as a troubled individual, certainly pushed over the edge by witnessing the gruesome deaths of prisoners Boggs and Rains, and thought by Superintendent Andrews to be responsible for his fellow inmates' deaths. Golic is restrained in a straitjacket, confined to the infirmary, and also witnesses the death of the prison doctor, Clemens. After the death of Clemens, Golic is never seen again, and it's just assumed that at some point the alien killed him. In fact, this is even addressed in Space Beast, a supplement to the WEYLAND-YUTANI report, outlining the sequence of events according to prisoner Robert Morse, the lone survivor of Fury 161. In Space Beast, Morse states the following: Andrews called everyone to the mess and started one of his rumor control speeches, and then Ripley burst in, saying the beast had gotten Clemens and Golic in the infirmary. Nobody liked Golic but Dylan and me. He stank and really was a nutter, but he didn't deserve to be eaten. The assembly cut of Alien 3, a special edition released in 2003, which runs close to half an hour longer than the original film, shows a very different fate for Golic, and takes a closer look at his obsession with the alien creature. In this version of the film, of course, the plan to capture the alien in the toxic waste tank does in fact become successful, and the beast is lured into captivity. Golic, still restrained in the infirmary and under the guard of Morse, learns of this development. He convinces Morse to release him from the straitjacket, knocks him out, and pursues the imprisoned xenomorph. After killing the prisoner tasked to guard the tank, Golic opens the doors and approaches the alien, saying, "Tell me what to do next," and is killed as the creature escapes. This restoration of Golic's subplot gave us much more to consider regarding the character. His madness, his admiration of the xenomorph, and what connection he had with what he referred to as the dragon, even if this connection was just in his mind. In addition to the subplot involving the capture of the alien, the assembly cut of Alien 3 generally fleshes Golic out much better, with scenes that clarify how different he is than the other prisoners. Golic is not very well liked. Among a group of murderers and rapists, that's saying quite a lot. The WEYLAND-YUTANI report also describes some of Golic's past crimes. He was described as a chemically resistant paranoid schizophrenic, already serving an indeterminate sentence at Haverhill Asylum Facility for violent behavior. Golic rose late one night in 2167 and killed 9 roommates with a sharpened spoon, later claiming that they'd all begged to be killed. He was serving a life sentence at Fury 161. Though it's not necessarily his past crimes that isolated him from his fellow inmates, but rather his behavior and even his hygiene. As described by Boggs, the guy's crazy and he smells bad. The assembly cut version also includes a few more moments of Golic that showcase his erratic behavior, such as smashing open a cigarette machine while screaming, and calmly eating in the mess hall covered in blood after returning from the attack that killed Boggs and Rains. Given his antisocial behavior, it could also be interpreted that he thinks of the alien as a friend. The 1992 Dark Horse Comics adaptation includes a moment in neither cut of the film where Golic calls out to the alien after Clemens is killed, asking the alien to free him from his restraints, and asking to be its friend. Alan Dean Foster's novelization features a similar moment where Golic pleads further to the alien, saying, "I can help you. We can kill all these assholes." That Golic is mentally deranged is certainly the most direct way of interpreting Golic's obsession with the alien. The recently published essay collection, Alien and Philosophy, examines the character and makes the case that Golic has some kind of dissociative disorder. In the essay Contagion, Impurity, Mental Illness, and Suicide in Alien 3 by Kevin S. Decker, the 1800s-era philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer is cited in the case for Golic. If in the heavy, horrible dreams anxiety reaches its highest degree, it causes us to wake up, whereby all those monstrous horrors of the night vanish. The same thing happens in the dream of life, when the highest degree of anxiety forces us to break it off. Clearly the greatest madman of the lot on Fury 161 is Golic. His mind, never clear in the first place, seems to break after he witnesses the deaths at the hands, claws really, of the xenomorph. Golic is unusual among those on Fury as he obsesses about the xenomorph, calling it magnificent after it kills Clemens. In this regard, he is quintessentially mad in the sense explored by the idiosyncratic thinker Arthur Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer thought that madness was a violent casting out of one's mind of something that follows a putting into the head of something else. These ideas, crudely expressed as they are, were influential to early psychiatrists in forming the more recognizable concepts of dissociation. In his discussion of madness, Schopenhauer continues, "The reverse process is rarer, namely that the putting into the head is the first thing and the casting out of the mind is the second. It takes place, however, in cases where a person who keeps constantly present to his mind and cannot get rid of the cause of his insanity. Thus, for example, the case of madness that has resulted from horror at a sudden, frightful occurrence. Such patients cling convulsively, so to speak, to the conceived idea, so that no other, at any rate none that opposes it, can arise. The psychosis that made Golic a mass murderer before Fury 161 now makes him the obsessive protector of the xenomorph." Golic's mental instability, though a fair enough reason behind his actions, may be only part of the story. It's also possible that in addition to being crazy and weak-willed, the xenomorph may actually have had some kind of control over Golic. It could be sheer coincidence that the alien spared his life twice, or it could have been in keeping him around until he became of use, which becomes the case when he releases it from the waste tank. And of course, no longer being of use, the alien then kills Golic. On the 2003 audio commentary for the film, Alec Gillis compares the relationship between Golic and the alien to the relationship between Reinfeld and Dracula. If the alien does, in fact, control Golic in some way, then the comparison to the villainous vampire and the mentally deranged servant made to do his bidding is quite fitting. Considering this is a possibility, maybe Golic's ramblings have a little bit more weight. As he's originally taken into the infirmary, he shouts to Dylan about the dragon he saw, and that it feeds on minds. Later, when Golic frees the alien, his first and last words to it are, "Tell me what to do next," as if he were given instruction to free it and kill whoever stood in the way, as he does. This wouldn't really be too radical of a concept in the realm of Alien, as 4 years prior to Alien 3's release, the 1988 comic series from Dark Horse explored telekinetic and psychic abilities of the xenomorph creature. All else considered, another viewpoint explaining Golic's madness would not be psychological, but rather spiritual. The prisoners of Fury 161 followed a religion close to Christianity, but focused on the end of the world. A popular belief in regards to Golic is that he believes the apocalypse is coming, and he wants to rebuild the world with Ripley, who is not so much a target for his violence, but a holy figure of salvation. Similarities to Alien 3 and the Book of Revelations in the Bible have also been made, and in particular Revelations 12, the woman and the dragon, draws comparisons. And it may be the best way to explain Golic's beliefs. This passage of Revelations describes the following. "A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that it might devour the child the moment he was born. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, 'Now have come the salvation and the power, and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters who accuses them before our God day and night has been hurled down. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short.'" David Fincher, quite infamously, rarely talks about his work on Alien 3, and rarely reopens the wounds of what could have been. Though, in an interview taking place just about a year after the film's release, Fincher did offer some insight into the intentions of Golic's subplot. The original idea was that Golic would believe that the creature was feeding on everybody else to leave himself and Ripley alive. That they were going to be sort of an Adam and Eve, and then that idea basically got cast aside because it was considered too strange. But that was the initial idea. Why is the alien killing everybody off? The one diluted point of view on the whole thing is that it's weeding back all the human refuse to leave Golic and Ripley. Even with the assembly cut version of the film, which, it may be worth noting, did not feature any involvement from David Fincher, much of the originally envisioned film is still lost. But the newly restored footage gave us a better idea of Golic and his obsession with the alien. Do you think Golic was just plain crazy, or was there some kind of influence on the alien's part? Do you think Golic's intentions were to help the alien kill the others, leaving only him and Ripley, or was there no real method to his madness? Comment below and share your thoughts. And as always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and you can also subscribe for all the latest videos from the channel. A very, very special thanks goes out to WEYLAND YUTANI executive, EmYarUk, part of the Patreon Hive. I'd also like to thank our Hive's queen, Lady Anne. If you'd like to join the Hive and support the channel, check out my Patreon page for exclusive posts and contests. In the meantime, you can catch up with Alien Theory over social media. Follow @alien_theory on Twitter and @alientheoryyt on Facebook and Instagram for more. And until next time, this is Alien Theory, signing off.